If we are to ever succeed at nation building, if we are to ever get our lives back, meaning come into the world, come into the world with parents who planned for us, come into the world with parents who prepared for us. So they prepared their mind, their body, and their soul. They took care of themselves. If they had parents that were dysfunctional, they sought counseling. Um, they read books. They studied about what pregnancy is, what it feels like as the woman to carry a child, the developmental stages, what that child would need as the mom, as the dad. They studied the same things, but they also invested in their own mental well-being so that they could be there to support the woman who is carrying their child. They had the baby because they wanted to, not because the baby was a oops and their religious beliefs dictated that they bring this child into the world, even though they are ill equipped. Ideally, they would have a village of elders, grandparents, aunts, and uncles that would be there to help them carry the burden because it does take a village. It really does take a village to tell the parents what they don't know, because you don't know what you don't know. To tell the parents, well, hey, this is a good book to read, or if you need advice, call on me. I'm really there for you. If we are to ever truly nation build, we have to ask ourselves, why do we keep bringing children into the world and we are ill equipped? Or while we are ill equipped? Why do we keep bringing children into the world based on a oops? Why do we set ourselves up for the oops? We know that if you have unprotected sex, there is a strong possibility, unless somebody had their tubes tied and somebody had a vasectomy, even if you were doing it for 10 years and it didn't happen, you know that there's a possibility. Why do we bring children into the world with partners that don't love us, that have not full out declared love for us, or that is full out non-supportive of even bringing the child into the world? Why, as women, do we do that to ourselves? Do we believe that we can do it alone? And listen, we are phenomenal beings. There are tons of children that say, oh, my mom was a single parent and she was phenomenal. And that's super fantastic. Those are superhuman beings. At the same time, there are there's millions of children perpetuating the cycle of bringing children into the world, and while not being prepared for them, and they are abusive parents emotionally and physically. They are hurt parents. So hurt people hurt people. They are suffering themselves because they have not fully grown. They have not reached their potential. We all come into the world with something that lights a fire in us, something that we desire to do and to be. Sometimes it's not fully identified. Sometimes we're not fully cognizant of it. But that something sometimes distracts us from fully being able to parent. If we are to nation build and to change the trajectory of our lives as African people, we have to start looking at why we are bringing children into the world to suffer, and then we are suffering in the process. We take it for granted that we're going to have healthy children. So now you are ill equipped, meaning emotionally, mentally, sometimes even physically not well, where our finances are suffering, we're not in good standing, we're poor or below the poverty level, but yet we bring a child into the world. And so that child will suffer along with us, or we will sacrifice ourselves for the sake of that child when we could have done things differently, when we could have figured out who we are, gotten help, free resources, leaned on people that are willing to help us. And if you find that there's no one willing to help you, look in the mirror and declare that you can do this yourself. You have the power to change your life, that your destiny is dependent on you. And fight for your life, fight for your happiness, demand from the universe, demand and declare your happiness, affirm your happiness, affirm the fulfillment of your dreams, and take the time to map it out on a piece of paper. This is what I want my ideal day to look like. This is what I want my finances to look like. And then map out a strategy. Follow those still voices, those intuitions, those hunches that drop in your spirit in the wee hours of the morning or right before you go to sleep. Keep a notepad next to you or keep your phone handy so that you can record all those hunches and intuitive nudges. All of that works together for your good, for you to achieve whatever it is that lights us, that sets your spirit on fire, because those are the things that, well, 9 times out of 10 I have seen that the things that light a spark in you, or brings joy to your heart and your soul, those are the things that are attached to your passion. And your passion, if you follow your passion, as a great orator said, your provisions will follow you. If you follow your passions, your provisions will follow you. Your money will follow you. I believe that. So it would be so beautiful if we could follow our passions, if we could work on ourselves. If when you look in the mirror, you do not see the person that you want to be, work on that. Write that stuff down, and one after the other work on those things so that when you look in the mirror, you like the person that you see. You love the person that you see before you decide to be somebody's mommy or daddy, so that you can pass on that much to your child. You can show them the way. You can be patient with that child. You can show that child that you prepared for them. You have money in the bank. You have sound people of sound mind to be your village to assist you in terms of babysitting and pouring into the lives, or just being a sounding board for you, another idea for you and preferably your partner, so that as African people, we can change the narrative and we can have more and more people, conscientious parents, creating more conscientious parents. And not everybody is meant to be a biological parent. And that's a beautiful thing too. because perhaps those that are not opting to be biological parents can be a part of our village to help us. But if we are to nation build, and if we are to change the trajectory of our lives and legacy as African people who grace the shores of America, we have to do better in terms of the decisions we make to procreate when we are ill prepared to do so. We have to work on that. Yes, for us women, we do have these pulls sometimes on us to have children, but that doesn't mean that we are to the next day have the pull today and tomorrow procreate. It means that we are to prepare ourselves, prepare, become the person that we love when we look in the mirror. Make sure that we have the patience for the job, that we can envision what a life would be like with a mate and without a mate, because you could love someone and be in love and things change. So you have to be prepared. And that's for mommy and daddy, future moms and dads, because, we can only control ourselves. In order to control a situation, a wise person said, we can only control ourselves. So we don't know, unfortunately, what the future would hold for that mate. But ideally, to give our children a good chance at balance and the benefit of having both energies in their lives, feminine and masculine energies in their lives, you really want to do it with someone else. Because trust me, doing it alone is hard. And I know the single parents, whether they're male or female, can attest to that. It's not easy. I don't care how spiritually grounded you are. It's not easy to work a full-time job because we live in a capitalistic society that dictates that we have to do that. If you're blessed to even have your own business, that requires even more hours. It's not easy to be a single parent. So ideally, you want to have a partner and you want to give that child the balance that that child needs. We have to do better in this department as a people. We have to. We have to do better in this department. We have to. We have more people opting to have children than first create develop themselves as a person and procreate with someone who did the same, developed themselves as a person. And individually, they can look in the mirror and love the person that they see and then want to create a mini version of that will grow up into someone that will contribute, that will be a functioning, holistically healthy contributor to our society as African people. We have more people opting to just have the baby before connecting with healthy souls and then deciding, planning, preparing for the birth of this child, for the development of this child, and then preparing to nourish and shepherd that child so that that child has the tools to be on their own. I can speak about this because I know what the opposite of this looks like. I lived it. I recreated it in a lot of instances. I am still working on creating new memories in my little family to erase the legacy of dysfunctionality, the legacy of coming from parents who were hurt people, so they hurt people, their children. I am coming from reversing the creating new memories because I didn't know what I didn't know. I was extremely naive and sheltered in one way that didn't benefit me. and overexposed to things that also didn't benefit me. So I speak from firsthand experience that of someone who did not know all that went into parenting, did not have models to show me. I learned on the job, like many of us, and I made tons of mistakes. So I want others that have a chance to not make as grave a mistake that I've made. I want others to really, really start to think about this. This is not a game. This is a whole person. This is a whole person. Prepare, plan, create the person that, or become and evolve into the person that you love when you look in the mirror if you're not there yet. Read about parenting. Find someone to do this with. Have a partner to do this with because it's so damaging to your own soul when you have to do it by yourself because it's so hard, or it can be. I'm not saying that there are people who haven't successfully done it. I'm just speaking about the ones that could have done it differently. And I'm speaking about the ones that did prepare, did plan, did ensure that they loved looking at themselves in the mirror and found someone who loved themselves when they looked in the mirror. They planned financially, they planned emotionally, they planned spiritually, they planned psychologically. They went and they got counseling as a team. And they created some phenomenal human beings that are happy, that are well grounded, that are emotionally, physically, psychologically sound, healthy, strong, that are doing phenomenal things in the world. Life is challenging enough as Africans. We didn't ask to be here, so we didn't create this damaging situation. So life is hard already for those that are here. So if we're going to choose to bring more children into this chaos as Africans living in America, then we owe it to the future generation to plan, prepare, make sure that you love the person looking in the mirror, study what it takes to go into parenting and shepherding another life into this world. Be a conscientious parent, or opt to not have children because hurt people hurt people. So if you're not fully there yet, opt to not bring children into the world. Don't take it for granted that you're going to have a healthy child. We can pray and affirm, but there are children that are born into the world with issues, physical issues, emotional issues. And if you're already behind the eight ball, barely making it, barely above water in terms of your life, all you're doing is bringing a child into a world that's gonna in a situation that's gonna make both of you suffer. And it didn't have to be. You could have been taking the time to work on yourself. It didn't have to be. So if we are going to change the trajectory of our lives, nation build, move and create land and infrastructure and build and create anew for ourselves as African people, we got to first start looking at why we are having babies. Why are we having babies if we are not fully prepared and equipped to give them the very best of ourselves and to give them the very best that life has to offer. I love you, beautiful beings. My sister Earth Mama Medicine, I see references others as beautiful beings. I can't help it. That's what I think we are too. I think we're beautiful beings. I think that that's who we are when we come into this earth, come into this world rather. When we're born, we're naturally beautiful beings. So, peace and blessings. Until next time.